Yeah, I mean, that's a tough matchup. I think to start the game, too, they really capitalized on getting deep seals. And so for me, I'm not very happy about that because, I mean, that just gave them some easy buckets that they didn't need. But, I mean, they're great post players. And then for me, on the offensive end, I feel like I was just getting to the right spots, being able to attack.
You guys were able, you lost to them in the first time you guys came here. What were some of the things that you struggled with during the first matchup that you still feel like you weren't able to overcome during this matchup?
Well, we lost first matchup. To be honest, I don't even know because that was a preseason game, and I feel like it's hard to really say anything that happens in preseason because in that moment we're continuing to learn each other. And then for this game, I mean, it was us. I mean, we just have to take care of the ball. And in that fourth quarter, too, though, like Enrique, I mean, she hit tough shots. JC Sheldon hit some really big threes for them. So we just have to make sure that we're able to get stops when we need it, especially in that fourth quarter.
Speaking of big threes, after you tied up the game, after you guys were, in having the behind for the entire game,
Mm-hmm.
you guys got tied up when you hit that 63-63. Then she comes back, hits the three.
Mm-hmm.
What was working for you guys in the third quarter to kind of cut down that lead?
I honestly think just pick and roll. Like, we were getting whatever we wanted to the rim, and like AB was sealing really well. Like offensively, we were able to get whatever we wanted all night. It felt like it was just our defense. Like, we gave up 28 points off turnovers, and I think 20 of those were in the first half. And like, so that really kills you to start the game. And just got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. Like, give up 100+ points, you're not going to win very many games. Like, that's just the reality of it. But we did a pretty good job of hanging with them and probably gave people an entertaining game. It was fun there in the last 4 minutes. It was pretty back and forth, I guess.
Caitlin, what does that record mean to you?
She's going to say it means nothing, but I think it's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool, so sorry.
I just think I do it, like, I just try to set my teammates up for success. I think at times, like, I can almost overpass, and that can maybe, I don't know, there probably could have been a few times where instead of passing that leads to turnover that I may have, I can probably shoot the ball, but especially with AB, like, I'm just looking to set her up so much. Like, my eyes are just always on our post players, whether that's Liz or whether that's AB or whoever's in the game at the time, and then kind of look out from there. But yeah, I mean, we still didn't shoot it very good from three, and I thought we finished really well around the paint. I'm sure our points in the paint were pretty good. 62 points in the paint, so yeah.
Does it lose a little bit of the shine with the loss and the late turnover, or is it something that you'll, like, when you look back, you'll savor it?
Yeah, the late turnover definitely kills, for sure. It's like a fine line of they were up pressuring me, so then I kind of got behind them and was able to attack, and then I tried to pull it out and kind of lost my handle while getting poked from behind. So that one definitely killed. And I think I only had one turnover in the second half, and we'd done a pretty good job of taking care of it a little better in the second half, but that one's really costly and you can't have it. So from that point, it's pretty hard to win a game once it becomes 3 possessions, and at that point we had it at 2. So that is what it is, I guess.
Caitlin, can you just tell me a little bit about the growing chemistry you have with Melissa Smith specifically? Can you just kind of tell me about that?
Yeah, I think Liz does a really good job of putting herself in a position where she knows she can get the ball and then go and finish. I think she runs the floor really well, especially in transition when we get it off a steal. We've had quite a few plays this year where they're just really exciting and the crowd kind of goes crazy. So she finishes really well around the rim. She's just so athletic. She can just make plays that a lot of 4 players in this league cannot make just because of her size and the way she can move. So I think I'm just always trying to set her up, whether it's her being in our short corner spot or running to the rim. Those are positions that I can put her in to be successful.
Aliyah, what do you think about this?
I'm sorry?
What do you think about Melissa's development?
Yeah, I feel like Caitlin said it best, just Liz being able to do a lot of stuff that other fours can. I think she's always at an advantage, especially on the offensive end. She runs the floor really hard. She rebounds the ball really, really well. And so, I mean, she's just that player for us.
Hey, Caitlin, how do you build on a game like this? I mean, when you broke a record, and also just like some of the key things that you saw in the game that you can carry over to the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's hard because I don't play for a month, so not much building to be done. But I don't know, like, for me it's kind of frustrating. Like, I feel like we've left 2 games out there that are very winnable for us going into the break, whether the Mystics at home and then obviously this one. And then we've won other matchups that are really tough for us, the Lynx on the road, Mercury on the road, Mercury at home, Liberty at home. And you lose 2 that probably you should have won, especially the one at home versus the Mystics. So for me, that's frustrating. So I think that's the biggest area for a team to grow in these last 14 games of the year is, you can't leave these opportunities on the table. Right now we're back and forth between 7th and 8th place in this league, possibly dropping to 9th depending on how, it goes from day to day. So every single game matters, and you don't want to have to look back at the end of the year and be like, dang, like we left some out there that we could have easily got. So I think that's the frustration part for me, but you just use it as motivation and you're right there and you're really close. And like I said pregame, like we put together like 2 quarters or 3 quarters. Like we really are struggling to put together 4. So I think that's an area that we can focus on going into the last 14.
That's on for 2 more.
Do you feel like it's just the chemistry you're still learning, from each other, so finding a play?
Yeah, I think it's that. I think at times our offense is really good, and then for a quarter it like gets a little stagnant, or our defense is really good for a quarter, and then the next quarter it's not as good. So I think it's just our consistency overall. But you can tell our chemistry is really coming along, and we're playing a lot better. If you watch a game from the beginning of the year, one of like our first 5 games, and you watch the game now, like you would think we're a completely different team with completely different players. So I got to give our group a lot of credit, our coaches a lot of credit for everybody just really buying in and continuing to improve. And our goal is obviously to get back to the playoffs. Haven't been there since 2016, and right now we're in a position to do that. So that's exciting, and that's something to build off of. But at the same time, we just know we can be so much better, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Last one's going to come on Zoom. Alexa, go ahead.
Hey guys, just kind of going off that point, Aliyah, maybe if you want to chime in too. I know you wanted a different result today, but if you could take that like big picture look, I mean, can you take in a lot of positives from just, especially this month of July, what you were able to accomplish and put together and the chemistry you're able to build, and how much confidence is even, in light of tonight, do you have moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, we've won some pretty big games this month, and I think that shows that, one, we can compete with the top team in the league, but I think it also shows that we have to be ready every single night. Like I think Caitlin said it best, like 2 games that we definitely dropped that we should have won, but I think just looking into the remainder of this season, like when we come back, we just have to be ready to compete because these are the last 14 games that we have, and we are trying to make it back to the playoffs, and I think we are in a good position, but we just have to make sure that we're able to capitalize on all these games.
All right, thank you, everybody.
I think turnovers, when you give up 28 points off turnovers, you take all that away. You take all that away. And then we just have to be better defensively, especially to start. We gave up 27 in the first and second quarters. I mean, that's just, we just have to be better with that. But to me, it's the turnovers. 28 points off our turnovers. Just don't give yourself a shot.
What was the message at halftime about the defense? Because you went out on a 17-9 run, I think it was, in the third quarter.
Yeah, I feel like the third quarter was by far our best quarter. We can't have so many of just 1 quarters or 2 quarters. Like you gotta string 3.5, 4 quarters together. We had 93 points. When you score 93 points, like you give yourself a chance to win the game. And then when we go back and watch, you're going to see so many wide open shots that we missed. And that, that's just, we've just got to get in the gym and work and make sure that we're able to hit those wide open shots. AB, 28 points in the paint. I mean, we had 63 points in the paint. But we have to get stops. I mean, that bottom line, you've got to get stops. You've got to play defense in this league. They hit 3 big threes late in the game. JC Sheldon had 2. 1 was off us in a red situation, and then she had another one when we didn't do what we were supposed to do on a side pick and roll, and then Odyssey had one that bounced all around and fell in. So they just hit big shots late. We played defense late. They just hit some big shots.
Coach, Caitlin talked about kind of the frustration about dropping 2 that you feel like y'all could have won the Washington game and then won tonight. What are some of the things you'll look at from those 2 games over the Olympic break as you prepare for this playoff push after the break?
Yeah, our starts, just, the Washington game, we didn't show up until the 4th quarter. We showed up in the 3rd quarter today, so we've got to figure out how to fix that piece of putting it together for 4 quarters. I mean, knowing that every team in this league is good any night, and you've got to be able to step up. And again, I mean, we put up 93 points. We were getting what we wanted offensively. We've just got to get it. We just got to be better defensively.
Hey, Coach, if you can rate anything, or like Caitlin's game, just seeing her over the time that you've coached her, what are some things that maybe is going underrated about how she plays? I mean, obviously she scores the basketball, she can facilitate, but is there anything that we could know about like what's underrated about her game.
What's underrated about her game? I'm gonna stick to what's positive about her game, man. I mean, she had 19 assists tonight. That was a WNBA record. I mean, she has the ability and her vision to see things, and we're just getting better and better as we play with her to be on the same page with her. I know she's not hitting the shots that she wants to hit. She's really down on herself about not making some shots that she would normally hit. But I mean, 19 assists is incredible. That's incredible. I think it was another record for a franchise, most in franchise history. Is that Ryan, in a season?
Most in a season, yeah.
In a season?
2 of them.
And then career high for AB tonight. Against two really big players in this league that make it really hard.
Coach, you kind of touched on it there, but just talk about as a coach what it's like on the sideline when you see a player in a zone like Caitlin setting a WNBA record tonight. Like, what does that mean for you in her development, and what does it mean for you personally just to see a feat like that?
Yeah, I feel, I think looking at the big picture, I'm pretty blessed with the people I have on this team, right? Caitlin Clark, Aliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Melissa Smith. I've got some really young, great talent that's just going to keep getting better. Throw Lexi Hull into there. She's going to keep getting better, third-year player. Katie Lou, I mean, right now she's beating herself up. She had some shots that she normally would make tonight, so she's really, really down on herself, but she just keeps getting better. She was out all last year, just needed time to get her legs under. And so now we'll get this break and we'll get some practice time with these guys. And they're just gonna keep doing this. I mean, it's young talent. It's just gonna keep getting better. For me, it's just exciting, the future of the Fever.
Coach, would you assess the chemistry between Caitlin and Melissa specifically? It looked like they were really good in transition. Could you just kind of assess how that's been growing since the beginning?
Yeah, I think they're figuring out, if they get out and run, she'll find you. And Liz had some really, she got out and ran off some misses, and I even think a make. And, she's going to find you. I think she had that one drop behind her back pass. Liz was ready for it. That's happened a few times, and we weren't ready. She was ready for it this time. But if you're a post player and you're playing with Caitlin Clark or any player, if you get out and run, she's going to find you. That's just fun basketball.
I think I got 2 on Zoom, Alexa and George. Go ahead, guys.
Hi, Christie. Just was curious, I know you're probably still in game mode coming off of tonight, but when you think ahead to the Olympic break, what does the schedule, I guess, look like for you, all the priorities of making sure everyone, including for your staff and yourself, rests, but getting back in the gym and working on the things like defense that really matter to make that playoff push?
Yeah, we're gonna, this group of people, from players to staff, just needs a time to decompress, and we're gonna give them, several, over a week, just to get wherever you're going, to sit down, sleep, just kind of get back refocused. I think it starts there, and then once we get back, to just practice with no games, you have to figure out a way to keep it creative. You have to be very creative. Find ways to get better in certain areas, implement new things, and then play some games. We'll have guys available, we'll have officials, but you have to keep, without games, it gets tough. It gets tough when you're in Indy, so we're going to practice hard, and we're going to give them some more time off and let them, do what they need to do to come back and keep getting ready to make that push, that second half.
Sorry, I didn't see Matt's hand up. Matt, you want to go first, and then we'll finish with George?
Yeah, hi, Christie. Caitlin was saying that it can be frustrating to have, 4 wins against upper half teams and then 2 losses against lower half teams. I guess just kind of what's your stance on that as you head into the break, maybe not being able to capitalize on, the lower end of the table?
Yeah, we always try to focus on us, right? In those 2 games, we just weren't who we were in those other games against top teams, and it doesn't matter who you're playing night in or night out. You've got to show up and play your game. And we, the Washington game, we didn't do that. The first 3 quarters tonight, first half, didn't do it. Came out in the third, had a really good quarter in the third, and then just couldn't finish in the fourth. But that's just growing, getting these experiences, and knowing you've got to play 40 minutes of basketball on both ends.
George, last one.
George Boy from the Just Say Boy Sports Podcast. Coach, we see a lot of times in sports, players break records. They lose focus and they just focus on what they did as opposed to the game? What does it say about Caitlin Clark's maturity, that at age 22 she's more focused on the loss and her team as a whole?
Yeah, you know, that's hopefully what we're focused on. You know, when is the win. Like that's our goal, that's our focus, a team win. And with that win, with the talent that we have, come those records and all the accolades. But, you know, overall, when the team wins, the individuals win. And that's what we've got to keep pressing. I know, you know, it's just different these days, and that's what people are looking at and talking about. But we want to build a culture, and we want to have sustainable wins. We want the Fever to come back and get back into the playoffs. You know, hadn't been there since 2016. That's our goal. And the only way we do that is we focus as a team on the wins, on the big picture wins.